Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Josh from 226 Sources. We're custom wheels, custom bike stuff here in Akron, Ohio. We're building a set of wheels today. I thought we'd talk through it a little bit. In the stand here, we have a fairly normal example of what we do. This is the front wheel off of my personal bike. This is our deep section carbon rim. It is a tubeless ready rim with a tubeless tire on it. This is pretty straightforward. This one is built to be kind of disc brake ready. It doesn't have a brake track in the rim surface. But this is basically what we do. Right here, what I have is a very normal aluminum extrusion rim, right? This is off of an Industry 9 wheel, so this is a pretty nice one, but it's a basic straightforward double wall extrusion that has all of the spoke nipple holes in it. You can kind of see those going around. And what I can do in order to build this thing up is take a tool like this. It's just a little pin tool. I can grab a spoke nipple out of my little sorting tray, put it on the end of the pin tool like that, and then as I'm building this, drop it through like that, and then I can attach the spoke here and go around and build a wheel. Pretty straightforward, very standard. It's been done like this for a long time. Here we have one of our rims. It's a slightly different from the one in the stand back here on my wheel because it's a shallower V section and it actually has a brake track in it. But if we look side on here, there's no holes in it. There's no holes for the spoke nipple to go through. That is what makes our rims special. They're not that unusual. You can get them out there in the market, but this is kind of what we focus on because this makes setup for tubeless super easy. With a rim that has the holes to allow for building with the spoke nipples, you usually have to build with some tape. You basically tape those holes over in order to make a sealable surface so that when you put the tire on and you put sealant in, all the sealant doesn't just escape through the holes. It works, it's totally doable, and people have been doing it for years now, but it is a failure point and it makes it sometimes a little bit tricky to actually set the tire up. It can fight you. With our rim, there's no fighting, there's no holes. It absolutely seals up right away. The tire setup is super simple and it removes a failure point from the entire assembly. It does make building the wheel a little bit more difficult. I'll show you that. All right, as we're looking at our nice, fancy, shallow section brake track 226 rim, what we need to do is get our spoke nipple inside here somehow, sticking out just a little bit so that we can build the wheel, but we can't do it through the outside. So what we have to do is kind of lace it in the long way. I have here a piece of fishing line with a steel spoke end on it and a magnet. And what I'm gonna do is start at the top and feed my steel spoke end into the rim, get it to go in there, use the magnet to grab it, chase it around, and pull that whole thing out the valve hole. Like that. From there, I'm going to grab a spoke nipple, put it onto my steel spoke end so that we're hanging out of the rim like that. And then I'm going to pull it through, get in there. And it should just, bam, come out the top like that. Now I'm gonna have a bunch of these to do because this rim has 32 holes in it. So in order to hold that in place so that I can put the rest in, I'm gonna grab a cutoff spoke, throw it in there, and just leave it in there like that so that the spoke nipple doesn't come out, and then I can come back, remove this, attach the actual spoke once they're all laced into the hub, and then build the wheel that way. From there, it's pretty conventional truing and tensioning. But this is a first step that takes a little while. It's a little finicky, but it's worth doing to get the benefits of the easy tubeless setup. So I'm gonna run through that right now. Okay, so that's a wheel that's ready to lace. It's got all the spoke nipples inside the rim. Again, I hold them in with spokes like this because they're easy for me to use. I have a ton of them around this wheel building shop. They don't damage anything, but you could also hold these in with like little pieces of tape or a physical clip, whatever is easy to use. I know this isn't really a tutorial, but this makes it easy, and I have 100 million spokes. So, one down, one more wheel to go, and then we'll get to lacing. All right, at this point, we've got spoke nipples all the way into both rims. We got our spoke lengths calculated. We got hubs ready to go. Spokes are already prepped. Let's get them laced up. Ba-bam! 2 wheels laced up, ready to go. And now we true. And just like that, we got a wheel set. These are finished. These are up to full final tension. I'm realizing that I did not throw on camera me bringing these up to initial full tension, and then they kind of go over that way and get stressed. And that stress really seats the spokes, especially around the hub, but also the spoke nipples into the rim and takes any stretch out of the spokes that are going to be in there, or most of it anyway. And then they come up to second final tension, which is where they are, and they're done. While bringing them up to second final tension, of course, we're constantly refining dish and true, laterally and vertically, and oh my God, so beautiful, phenomenale. These are ready to go in a box and get sent to the rider, and I hope and trust that these will serve that rider for many thousands of great miles out in the real world. That's it. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.